PEINTEINGU. Tingu goo 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 goo. Tingu goo 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 goo. PEINTEINGU. Oops. Yes, it's that time of day for PEINTEINGU. Any tips you wish to put in the ball, rink in description. But know this, he gets none of them. I get all of them. Welcome all to PEINTEINGU, brothers, sisters, niggers, niggerettes, wasters, wankers, the lot of you. I know you're there. Only the good ones pay. Only the good ones chat. Well, sometimes the ones that chat are a bit fucked in the head. But we'll deal with that when we come to it. Welcome all to PEINTEINGU, Brother Griffu, Brother Elfu, and your many various alter egos. This morning's PEINTEINGU is greeted by none other than the schizophrenic elf from Australia. And I actually really like and appreciate despite the amount of comments from one person, which happens to be two profiles. Like some people would look at that and be like, "Stop spamming the chat, bro." But you get away with it this time. You know why? Because you're quoting one of my favorite movies, The 13th Warrior. I don't know how many streams I've actually started where I'm already smoking, but I'm a bit stressed today. Physically, physically stressed. Not mentally, not spiritually. I'm not going to sit here and bitch about life. It's not one of those painting goose. I'm actually in a fine mood. I'm just very tired. My muscles ache. My routine is beginning to fall back into place. Instead of waking up at 1 p.m., I woke up at 8 a.m. Not quite 7, which is my usual one, but 8 is good enough for the moment. My body is adjusting to long periods of isometric exercises and readjusting sleep patterns. Um, and like upon my initial investigation of the chat, I was like, "What is this guy spamming in?" But I know the bit, like I know the bit you're on about from reading it. It's actually class. The prayer that Antonio Banderas' character says before the final battle in 13th Warrior. Um, he's a Muslim, isn't he? Yeah, because they're Arabic. Is it Hebrew and shit? I'm not sure. And then he's with all the Vikings. So merciful Father, I have squandered my days with plans of many things. This was not among them. But in this moment, I beg only the next few minutes well, for all we ought to, for all we ought to thought, and have not thought, all we ought to have said, and not said, and ought to have done, or not done. I pray that my God for forgiveness. And my cigarette has gone out. There's some like a really that's one of those movies that's really quotable. like spoiler alert, there's a bit where Antonio Banderas' character is, he's like a Muslim foreigner, or he's Persian, isn't he? Um, I can't remember what race he's. I think he's Arabian I think he's Persian, but they're Muslim at the time, as far as I know. And uh, he ends up basically getting like roped in to hanging out with a bunch of Vikings dealing with this thing called a Grendel in like a local village, a fiefdom or whatever. Really good movie. But there's a period of time near the start where like he has to learn how to speak their language because it's just him with like 12 fucking big burly Viking lads and all like, and there's just like a montage basically of him like sitting at various campfires with them while they're traveling to the location where this like thing is attacking this village. And there's nights where he is just like sitting there in the piss and the rain, listening to them, trying to like learn the patterns of the language and shit. And like I think it's explained as well that he's like a poet or like a writer from his like kingdom or whatever like, so he's a very well educated man, and he's not really a warrior but he can fight, but like like you can't fight like Viking style, like sword and shield, like like they're all way bigger. They're wearing chainmail, like all this sort of shit. He's used to fighting with like much smaller swords and like fucking. It's a really cool movie, but there's this bit anyway where he basically cops on to speaking their language, and there's this great moment where one of them is like, "How did you learn our language?" And he like stands up and like gets up in his face, and he's like, "I listened," you know. And then the Viking that asked him that, he's just kind of looking at me like, like he thinks it's brilliant. Like it's an excellent movie for so many reasons. Like, and that's one of them. Is there's this great moment where he adapts to this like mad scenario that he's been put in, where like he just like gets roped into this fucking horrific scenario for him. Like for them, it's just another day of like slaying demons and stuff and defending the realm. But for him, it's like this culture shock, you know, um, solitary adventure that ends up becoming like he gets like he becomes one of them, and like a few of them consider him a brother and all this. Like it's a fucking excellent movie. Like, but that prayer that Puck Elf put in the comment section is what Antonio Banderas' character says before the final battle. And the next one put in, which I kind of like the way you switched profiles, as if it was like one's the one character and one's the other character. But the Viking prayer is like really fucking cool. Lo there do I see my father. Lo there do I see my mothers and my brothers and my sisters. Lo there before we do Lo there before me do I see the line of my people. Back to the beginning. They do call to me to live among them in the halls of Valhalla where the brave may live forever. So like people don't speak like that anymore. Like, do you know what I mean? Like just these rousing, stimulating speeches before like a climactic event or some shit. Like it's one of the reasons I love movies like Lord of the Rings and stuff like that. Like who doesn't know the insanely famous. Like if you've never read Lord of the Rings and you didn't even watch the movies, like you probably still know of the scene where Gandalf is like, "You shall not pass." Like it's just some things just like break through, and like everybody knows about it. Like well, nearly everybody. Welcome to Paintingu, brother Demon Hunter Beru. Shirley Deltarune. Sleepy Houseu. Corberu. All the people filing in to painting. I miss these manic messages. I know, like he's like Brother Elfu is basically like our resident fluffer for the chat. Like if the chat's looking a bit dead, you can rely on the elf to just like fill it full of random shit. Oh, it's hilarious. Uh, yeah, it's fucking cold here too, Sleepy. Seriously, like I fucking I was doing a bit of like my own like my other painting work, the real stuff. Fucking I was doing some other catching up on some other projects and like just sitting at the desk like doing painting for like in and around an hour. Like I put the heating on in this room approximately an hour and a half before I even like sat down to do my stuff. And then I turn the heating off when I get in the room, trying to like, use them as economically as possible, like in terms of cost and shit like that. Like if it was cheap as fuck, you just have them on all day. Like swear to God, like. But I was in here about less than an hour, and by the time I was done, like my hands were cold, and my shoulders had started to get stiff and stuff like that just from sitting there. Like so, it's like the heat in the room. Like I've turned it up to like 23 degrees, and like that it's not 23 degrees when it like heats the room up. The room heats up and it's like maybe 15, 18 degrees, which is like nice and warm. It's nice and cozy and all, like, but the contrast between the rest of the house and the outside and then like this one room you're in and all, like your body just is constantly like shifting between temperatures. It's like you're walking in and out of a fridge all day, like, and it's fucking it does get to the point where like it kind of like, well, that's what I said at the start of the stream. My body, I'm not stressed mentally or like emotionally right now, but my body is stressed and I can feel it, and it's making me tired because it's like my fascia and my muscles and my nerve endings are constantly like contracting and expanding in response to the different temperatures because they're so drastically different. Like during the summer, you walk around the house and like the whole house and the outside is like roughly the same temperature. Like, do you know what I mean? Walking around in a t-shirt or some shit, like. But like for like 4 months of the year, I'm like constantly walking around in like my house coat and a jumper and a t-shirt and a fucking like I'm constantly walking around in my big furry booties that I have. Like it's just it gets to a point where you're just like, man, like fucking like there has been moments where I'm like, I wonder what it'd be like to live in California for a few years or some shit, or some place in Africa, like just some place where winter's not a thing, and just live there for like a year or two, and be like, yeah, I get why people don't like winter, I- but I'd miss it, the frost, the beautiful white fluffy snow. There's also something to like the sun is different in the cold, you know regardless of whatever, like, the cloud cover and it does be dark and you get a lack of vitamin D in the winter or whatever like that. But when the sun breaks through in the winter sun is like, there's something about it. It's crisp, you know? It's not as like hazy because there's like all of that humidity and stuff like that. It like the light just cuts through the cold air and just even visibly has this like when you see that glare on tarmac, or what you guys call it, asphalt or whatever, you get that glare coming off the black ice and stuff like that on the roads and stuff, like, and it's just like it's blinding sometimes, like, do you know what I mean? Like it's crazy how much of a contrast there is between seasons if you live in like some place like most countries in Europe or something, like, or even many of the states in the United States, where like you know there's the time of the year where everything's dying and you get all those beautiful browns and reds and yellows and all that stuff, like, and you hear all that crunch. Things are kind of dry and crunched, but at the same time they can be wet and muddy or whatever like that. And then you have the summer where like everything is just like hot and bright and multicolored. And then winter comes and it's like predominantly grey and white. It's freezing cold and wet most of the time. But there's something about it, like, it's one of the reasons I love Christmas. Like, Christmas is that feeling personified in a lot of ways. Like, obviously, it's been marketed to shit, but like, Christmas is that feeling of like everybody coming together because of the environment change. Everybody's in the longhouse with the roaring fire and like, drinking mead and singing songs. Like, it's like you're supposed to go through the various stages. At least if you try and live like a very balanced, natural life. Do you imagine how like detrimental to your nervous system and your like, God created body it must be to just like be constantly surrounded by synthetic light, be constantly in an office that's like fucking 40 floors off ground level. Like, you don't really get to, like, do you know what I mean? Like, like these people who like, live in a metropolis like city or some shit, like, and regardless of the seasons, their body is in a building that's like elevated off the ground, and like I've heard that has a lot to do with like sterility and shit. Where like one of the reasons why well, I don't know if they did it on purpose, but like buildings that are tall and have many many floors, the people above a certain amount of floors tend to have like higher counts of sterility and like health issues and heart problems and stuff like that. Because the way like truthers are always saying that like you need to ground yourself and stuff because you're like the bioelectricity in your body and shit. Oh, painting. Oh, pardon me. Um, I've heard stuff like that and it makes sense to me where like if you're away from Earth, most of the time, i.e., if you go into an office like Monday to Friday, every like and you're working on like the fucking 20th floor in a big building, like and then I've heard that like the whole, what's it called? AC, fucking climate control and like all that shit, like all the so you got artificial light, and then you also have artificial like atmosphere. You got the like the keeping it hot or keeping it cold or whatever like that. Like apparently the movement of air, like the flowing air in that environment, and because you're off the ground and shit like that uh, is like really bad for your body and really bad for your body's like natural bioelectric energy and stuff like that. And it makes a lot of sense because like it's like when I was talking about the bird in the cage yesterday. Like imagine being a bird in a cage. Like you're literally like designed to fly and you're in a container. And you can barely move around. Like I've felt like that, like just living in a house. Swear to God, I don't necessarily think that everybody should have a big house, but I definitely think everybody should have at least like a bit of land because you need to be able to get out of your house and like allow your body to breathe in the environment, not just inhale fresh air and shit and get a bit of sun on your skin and stuff like that. But your body, did you ever hear the goldfish in a ball thing where like you put a goldfish in a big ball and he'll get bigger. Like obviously he's not going to fill the ball, but they'll get much bigger than if you put them in a small ball. You know, like I'd say that's one of the things that has to do why like people may have been bigger back in the day. Whatever about giants and all this like genetic shit. Like when you put people in smaller containers and like you build these cities where everybody's crammed together, people are genetically going to be predisposed to being small, instead of like living in tree houses and stuff that like, span a large area and are like grounded with, natural bioelectric energy and stuff like that. Like, think about how much healthier it would feel to live in something like a Hobbit house, out of Lord of the Rings, but just larger, you know, where like everything's made out of wood and there's like actual like dirt and grass like on your house, you know, like there's your insulation, like and like there's your like thermal efficiency and stuff like that. Like this whole idea of erecting a container that's made out of like you know compressed powdered materials, and like sure they still use wood and metal and shit like that, but like these 90-degree angle fucking boxes of sorrow that like everybody is like acclimatized to existing within. That's not our natural environment. Our natural environment is like has got curves and it flows, and like that's how light is supposed to move around an environment. Like when light hits an edge, it hits an edge and it bounces. Like, do you know what I mean? So like all the inefficiencies and all of the unnatural things about like modding building materials, or modern, not modding, modern building materials and modern architecture, it's just so unhealthy, whether it be on a like geometrically, like, divine geometry, spiritual level or whatever like that. Like it's also unhealthy just in a general biological sense. Like, but anyway, right there with you on long periods of isometric exercises. Paintingu, find your center. Yeah, I love doing stuff like horse stance and like some like gymnastic stuff, or like you just like try and do an L sit, or try and hold an L sit, or what's it called, a fucking a hollow hold, where like you'd be lie flat on your back on the ground or the floor or whatever, um and then raise your upper body up, and then keep your arms in line with like your torso and your head like this and all, like, and at the same time lift your feet up. So you're basically like that on the ground, and it's an intense core exercise. It's a fucking intense core exercise. Way better than like sit ups or crunches or some shit. Like holding an L sit, an elevated L sit, or just an L sit, like just on your hands on the ground, like is really good for like everything. It's good for your legs, good for your core, good for your glutes, good for your shoulders, your pecs, the whole lot. Like, all those gymnast movements are fucking insane. Like in terms of like just keeping your body like functional and healthy and shit. That's like I've never been interested in getting like really buff or anything. I've always been like fascinated with like that's why I love martial arts. Like there's a way your body's designed to move in certain ways, and it's designed to do certain things. Like I think like climbing trees is probably one of the healthiest fucking exercises that you can do. Like it's just climbing a fucking tree, because of the biomechanical movements involved. Like you got your grip strength, you got your pull strength, you got your push strength, you got your hold strength and tendon strength. All those like minor, not minor, all those like all the minutia in your fascia, and like, because it's not about like, you know oh, how much can you lift, bro? Like, do you know what I mean? Like if that's what you're into, then sure, that's what it's about. Like, but I like, for me, that's not what true fitness is. Do you know what I mean? Like I wouldn't consider myself a very fit individual, but I'm quite strong. I'm still fairly fast, and like I'm fairly fucking flexible for someone who spends a lot of time sitting down and doing like, very little movement for hours at a time. Like, um and that's probably why I notice it so much, where like if I take like a week off and don't do something or whatever like that, I really start to notice it. Like, and I'm getting on now, like another fucking what, 7 odd years and I'm going to be 40, or like another 8 years and I'm going to be 40. If I feel like now, fucking like if I didn't do any kind of like exercise and shit like that, by the time I'm 40, I'd look like a fucking old man. Like, and there's no way that's happening. I refuse. It's also a really good way to train your mind. Stuff like horse stance and like isometric exercises like qigong and stuff like that is also a really good way to like discipline your mind, because it fucking hurts. It's a hell of a lot easier to just like pump something and your muscles get that like tight burn that, like, if you do it right, feels good. Do you know what I mean? Like there's a if you've ever seen Arnold Schwarzenegger's fucking quote, it's like, I love it. It's like calming. Like there is like there's a sensation you get when you get that pump that's like really satisfying, like, and that is good for you and all. But like you can get the same sensation and more out of martial arts and gymnastics training methods and like stuff like calisthenics and stuff like that, because like you're not just pushing or pulling, you're maintaining, you know and you're not just like performing like a very fundamental action. If you're doing something like a handstand, like just try like how many people in the chat can just do a handstand and hold it? I can barely do it. Like, do you know what I mean? And I try to do the stuff fairly regularly. Like, it's not an easy thing to do if it's not something you regularly do, or if you've never tried it. Like doing a handstand and holding a handstand and just being like no wall, no nothing. Just put your hands on the ground and whoop. Like fuck all people. Like most people can't do that. Like but like it's one of those things where it's like if you can do that, your whole body is fundamentally healthy. If you can like just pop into a handstand and like press once or twice, especially like for females, it'd be a lot more difficult because the upper body strength involved. Like, but like males are designed to do that. Like males are literally designed. Your males are designed to have like overwhelming upper body strength compared to women. Do you know what I mean? And it's like so many males these days have no upper body strength. You know, I think that like just like a woman, like in my opinion, a woman should be like a little bit ashamed if she doesn't have an ass. Like if a woman doesn't have an ass is the same as like a man having like no kind of like shoulders and pecs. It's it's not right. Like it's not fucking right, I tell you. Like he's just an Arab Christian Abrahamic person. His specific faith doesn't matter. Could be Muslim or Christian or Jewish. Yeah, like that's why I couldn't really remember specifically what he was because he writes in Arabic or Hebrew or whatever, but he's like Persian, you know, and he believes in the Abrahamic gods, but he like it's never mentioned that he's Muslim, but he prays like a Muslim, but he never whips out a carpet or anything like that. I'm not that ignorant. I know they don't have to whip out a carpet every time they pray, but like you know what I mean. Like traditionally, that's what they used to do. Like, uh, I recently found the audiobook of Eaters of the Dead on the Judentuben. Gonna give it a listen after the stream. Eaters of the Dead. What the hell is that? I'm intrigued. I'm very intrigued. Uh, hold this and point it at the evil shadow fairs. A Muslim, a Christian, and a Jew run into a bar. They're knocked out cold. Uh, do you know what jokes I used to love was the fucking Paddy Englishman, Paddy Irishman, and Paddy Scotsman. Or like they're just like different lads from different cultures called Paddy and all. Like there were some brilliant ones. Like they bring it like they all of them have their missus fucking do their lunch for work or something. Like I used to know a few of them off by heart, and like some of them are genuinely really funny, and they're them type of jokes that are like they're like a story that take you a few minutes to uh like to get out, and then like right at the end of it, there's just a hilarious punchline. Like um. I always like those jokes. Like, they're not dad jokes, but they're like folk jokes. Like, they're the type of jokes that like someone sat down and thought about, or just kind of came up with in the moment, like while everybody's like fucking, shoveling sand or some shit. Like, it's like they're workman's jokes. Do you know what I've always actually wanted to try and learn off by heart, especially since I started doing painting goo? I thought it'd be hilarious if I learned how to sing some like ye old chants and shit, like like sea chanties on pirate ships and stuff. Like I was just like, I always think of that scene from Star Trek where it's like Data and Data's like gone rogue and he's like on a fucking one of those like uh miniature ships. I can't remember what they're fucking called. Like one of the pods that comes off the main ship, the runabout or whatever they're called. Like he's like flying around in a scout ship, and Picard is like chasing him because uh there's something wrong with his programming and he's gone rogue. So Picard's like trying to fucking like capture him so they can fix him. And the way he ends up capturing him is like he like starts singing a song that he knows Data is programmed to know or some shit like. So he starts singing like this and la 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 la, and then like Data starts joining in, so they start doing like a duet a cappella thing. Like it's really funny, like but it's like it's enough to distract Data, so Picard can get close and capture him and shit. Like really funny, like brother Bravey Barrow, welcome to Paintingu. You honor us with your presence, Minister. How are you? Gandalf, Elf looks. You cannot handle the Balrog on your own. I know this foe. Let me have some. Yeah, like that was one of those cool scenes as well, where he's like, what you call it? Um, this foe is beyond any of you. Like and like it was at the time. It's a pretty intense thing to say because it's like you've seen them all do pretty cool stuff, and like Aragorn's a really cool fighter. He's after taking on the Wraiths or whatever. Legolas is clearly like a beast with a bow. Boromir's dead by that time, isn't he? And or is that no? That's afterwards, isn't it? I can't remember. Jesus, I have to go back and watch Lord of the Rings now. But him turning around to them and being like, "Yeah, we need to just run. Like this guy is beyond any of you." Like it's just kind of like, "Oh shit!" Like we just killed a troll and a lot of orcs. You know, I mean, like it was a bit rough, but like we managed it. Like. And then this thing shows up and he's like, yeah, nah. Like, if we try and fight this thing, we're all gonna die. Like, and then you see it and you're like, yeah, he's got a point. Just like 3 stories of lava and flames and what appears to be bone and steel or some shit. Like the thing has a whip. When the Balrog takes the whip out, I was like, hair. Like, you fucking serious? Like, could you imagine the sonic boom off of like like a flame demon whip that's that big. Like, forget cutting a man in half. You could probably like split the side of a mountain open with that thing. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, sonic booms are incredibly powerful. Uh, on a scale, like, do you know what I mean? Like, they're really. I don't know if you've ever seen this, but like, what that reminds me of is it's like one of the coolest things I've ever fucking seen was somebody got 2 steel balls, right, and a piece of paper, and basically he just has a piece of paper and 2 large steel balls, and then has them on strings and puts the paper in the middle, right? And well, he does it without the paper first to show you, and he like clangs them together, and they zoom in with a camera and like put it in slow motion and all, and you can see the sonic boom that comes out because they're perfect spheres. The contact point is so small that they like go when you just hear like a click or a clang, but on the microscopic level, there's like actually like a sonic boom going off, like, so to illustrate how powerful it is, even though it's that small. I think the balls are like smaller than my hand. Like, do you know what I mean? They're not that, like, they'd be like a large marble. It's not like they're bowling balls or anything. Like, but he just clangs these things together with a piece of paper in the middle, and then shows you the piece of paper, and there's a fucking hole in it, and there's like scorch marks. Like it's tiny, but it's there. Like, so could you imagine if you had like imagine 2 giant steel wrecking ball things, and you just slam them together as hard as you can. Like, the sonic boom from that, like, would be fucking ridiculous. Like, those are the type of physics things that I'm fascinated by. Is like things like high levels of tension and friction, and like how friction can hold things in place better than adhesive or glue, depending on the engineering involved and shit. Like, do you ever see that scene in what was it? Wasn't Shanghai? Was it Shanghai Noon or Shanghai Nights? It's a Jackie Chan movie with Owen Wilson, and I'm pretty sure it's the second one. But to get out of prison, Jackie Chan pisses all over his like the not it's not like a shawl. It's like a bit of cloth that ties his tunic together. And it's like made out of silk and shit because like he's Chinese and like his clothes are like really fucking high quality. Like it's not like the rags the fucking cowboys are wearing. And they stick him in jail, and like he's just behind like iron bars, like he's in one of those like Wild West jails, like, and he pisses on his silk robe like thing, and then wrings it out, but then gets like a little fucking bar and like wraps the silk around that bar and the bars in the jail, and just uses torque and the friction of the wet silk to just like move the bars closer together so he can like slip through them and all. And I remember seeing that as a kid, and I was like that's science that is fascinating. Do you know what I mean? Like how you can like manipulate your environment, not just using tools and materials, but knowledge of how stuff works and reacts. Like leverage force. For anybody who does jujitsu or anything, like, you know what I mean? Like that's why certain martial arts techniques are so fucking powerful, because like if you get somebody's limb in the right way, you have to exert very little power to cause a lot of damage. You know, especially if you're working with like a joint, like the elbow or the shoulder or something like. Obviously, the obvious, like the the ultimate one is the old neck. It's just like, but yeah, I was waiting for this. Why did you get arrested? I got arrested for the first time recently, and my bum hole is still. Did you get prison raped Aussie style? Jesus Christ! Oh man, what did you just got caught drinking or something, didn't you? You don't need vitamin D defender. Well, from what I've heard, yeah, we like us gingers produce our own form of vitamin D or some shit, like, which kind of makes sense to me because like I do have this natural inclination to just have like excess energy. But my lifestyle kind of like balances that out really because like my posture is so bad. Like it's not actually that bad, but for me it is because I'm so aware of it. I'm really aware of my posture. So like forever like I'm chronically tense in my shoulders and my traps, and like in between my shoulders and my back and stuff like that, my mid back. Like I have like multiple points in my spine where I have like a high amount of tension and shit. It's been a while since I went to a chiropractor. Um like I'm the type of person that needs that now and again. If I'm not keeping up with my regime of like doing the qigong and the exercises and stuff like that, calisthenics and just simple stuff like one of the best things I do now that I've been doing for a while that I get a lot of benefit from is just a farmer walk. So you just pick, you got like, preferably, ideally, you have like what I do, and you have two weights that are the same, like kettlebells or dumbbells or whatever, or you could have two buckets that are the same with the same amount of water in them or whatever, and you just pick them up and just walk and just walk and walk and walk and walk. And ideally, if you can walk up and down something, and that's what I do. I get two kettlebells that weigh about 8 kilos a pop, and I go up and down the stairs like 100 times. And by the end of it, I'm like pouring sweat, and like I can feel my back and my ass muscles like trying to like keep me up, because it's like one of the best ways to keep everything symmetrical and shit, and at the same time move it around and stuff. Brilliant exercise. Uh, you'd miss the Irish rain. It's so tranquil. Yeah, I would like. I'd actually miss the rain more than I'd miss winter, I'd say. Like if I was in a place that was just like dry and hot for a long period of time, I probably would get quite sick of it. It'll probably irritate me after a while. I fucking love the rain. I love the sound of rain, like whether it be on a window or like grass or in the leaves of trees and stuff like that. I love the sound of rain. and then the calming effect of like if it has been really hot for a while, and then the place just gets drenched out of it in like like you know those times where like it's been really hot for like a week and it hasn't rained, and then out of nowhere just like thunderstorm level rain. I do like I've a few times throughout my life I've been outside in something like a t-shirt, and out of nowhere it starts pissing rain, and I don't give a fuck. I'm just standing there getting soaking wet, and because of the sense of relief, like my body is just like, oh yeah. Oh man, I haven't had a bath in years. I miss that sensation. Showers just aren't the same. There's something about a bath that is just because you can just lie there in it, and your whole body has the opportunity to like um acclimatize to the temperature as a whole. Whereas like especially in the winter, like you could be having a hot shower, like and like stuff does warm up, but there's like parts of the shower that are still cold, and right outside the shower is still freezing cold. So you have like scalding hot water and then fucking like freezing cold. You're just like, ah, ooh, ah. It doesn't even relax you that much. It's like purely for keeping you clean, But like a bath, oh man, like a nice fucking like Scouse Bear with his fucking Epsom salt baths and shit. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, I'd fucking love to just lie in one of them for a while. It'd be great for my muscles and my back and all. Like, but I have to earn it to make a lot of money with my God-given talents so that I can buy myself a bath. Um, I'm gardening and listening. You still in the same place, Bravey? That place, like you said, you really liked gardening there. I'm happy you're at a place that you enjoy working in. Like there's such a difference. Like if you happen to have a job that you genuinely don't mind doing and you like it and stuff like that, and it gives you a decent wage, consider yourself so blessed because like most people hate their job. You know, like we live in a time where like most people are like, I don't want to go to work. I fucking hate work. Like you don't want to go into work and you can't wait to get home. Like that's no way to live. Do you know what I mean? That doesn't mean though that like you can't have a good job that you love. That doesn't have anything to do with like your natural talents or whatever. Like I really enjoyed manual labor. I really enjoyed lifting boxes and driving around in vans and just moving things. Like I liked staying active and shit like that. Um, so there's always going to be a part of me that doesn't mind at all doing physical shit. Like I actually really enjoy it. But when you're doing hard labor for like, 9 to 5 or like sometimes what I was like fucking what, like 7 till 4, like I had to be there for 7. Do you know what I mean? I was waking up at like half 5 or 6 to get a bus into the city, to get a tram out to another section of the city, to get into a warehouse, to fucking count phones on a stool for fucking 8.5 hours or some shit, like, and get paid like what, like 15 quid? Like, I can't even remember. I can't even remember what the pay rate. It was that was one of the highest paying jobs I ever got, and I got like 1,600 euro a month, I think, which was amazing for me, but pretty shit when I look back at like how much everything costs and like tax and like I was still living at home, so I wasn't paying rent or whatever. I was still giving my mother money, but like I wasn't like I didn't have to pay rent to a landlord. Like I've always thought that was fucking insane, where you had these fucking parents that were like, right, it's time for you to get a job and like start making enough money and get the fuck out of my house, and it's like your house. Like, I'm your son. Like, I've grown. This house is more my house than yours. I've literally grown up in this house. You just pay for it. You've had 3 houses your entire fucking. Your house is Nan and Granddad's house. Like, do you know what I mean? That's how. Like, that's how it felt for me. I was like, you brought me here. Like, you made me. You brought me here, and like, you've reared me in this place. And now you're telling me to fucking like get the fuck out, and I'm on the clock. Like, it was fucking crazy to me. Like, so I was just like, you people are insane. I didn't like. my parents didn't give off that like sense of like um unconditional love and stuff like that. And like I know a lot of people did get that. Like their mommy and daddy loved them so much. You know, like not my parents. Like my mother became a selfish psychopath for fucking years. Like she's not that bad now. Like, but like you literally have people out there who like genuinely put themselves before their kids, which I find like utterly abhorrent. Like crazy. Like how do you expect your child to have the motivation to do anything in life if their parents' motivation for getting them to find work is purely to for you to leave them alone? Do you know? Like, I'm sick of your shit. Get the fuck out of my house. My shit. Like, you fucking bunch of hypocrites. I'd kill for a mug of good mead every night after a long day. Yeah, like I've heard like legit home brewed mead like made out of honey and shit like that is actually like really tasty and shit like and those are actually things you have to watch out for. Like I've had a few alcoholic beverages where I'm like, dear God, this is delicious. Like and like that's not a good thing because you can just keep drinking. Like, at least with most other drinks, like you'll have a vodka or something and you'll be like, okay, that's enough for me. Like my stomach can only take that reaction so many times in a row, like you know. But then I've had other drinks where I'm like, dear Lord, this is delicious. Like 14 drinks later, oh Jesus. Like, uh, I miss the seasons here. The weather tampering is getting out of hand. Yeah, like it's a combination though, isn't it? It's like you know there is weather tampering, but then there's also the natural long term seasonal changes. Like I'm one of the whole Prague clock circles within circles realm, like what would you call it, cosmology or whatever? Not cosmology, fucking geology. I don't know. Um, I resonate with that. Like I think that makes a lot of sense. Where you just have like these vast expanses of water with a high salt content, and then you have like dirt and rock and then ice at the edges, and then probably beyond like the other sheets of ice, there's other pockets. Like I wouldn't be surprised if the section of the realm we're in. So we like as far as we are concerned, we have one sun and then there's the moon. I wouldn't be surprised if there's a section of the greater realm that some people know of or have seen or whatever, or there's records of where there's two suns, you know, and like one is like seemingly quicker and bigger than the other one or some shit. Like I totally think that there's like you know the stuff you see in Avatar with like the floating mountains and shit like you know like all of those magnetic things and like you know all these insane looking creatures with fluorescent colors and stuff like something that you'd look at and be like that's basically a dragon. Like I utterly believe all of that's real. Swear to God. Like part of me is still like there's a part of me that thinks that because of the way this timeline is going, the things we've experienced and shit like that, like I wouldn't be surprised if in the next few years some people start showing signs of like what people would call superpowers or mutations. Like every so often I feel like something's just gonna like turn on. And not because I'm a special boy, you know? I feel like the realm is like shifting into like a different phase where like loads of things are just going to be different. Like the whole thing that Owen was saying with Gardner, where like, you know, electricity is like something we have in this era. It's a form of energy that is very prevalent in this era. It may not be in the next era. And like, I understand how that would work. Because you don't need electricity to have light. You don't need electricity to have warmth. You don't need electricity to like live. You don't need electricity to live. You can have all these different ways of lighting areas and engineering machines and stuff. Like, you can use water, you can use sound, you can use all sorts of stuff. You know, you can just use varying levels of density and weight and shit. Like, you literally don't need electricity. Like, and it makes sense that like everything's electrical now. Like, because it's like that's what the monopoly is. It's fascinating stuff when you start looking into like different forms of energy and what energy actually is and how it works. That's how energy works, and like allegedly, this is why Eddie Griffin's stand-up special, The Voodoo Child, is always going to be one of my favorite stand-up specials because he says this in it. It's like, at least I think it's that one. Anyway, it might be a different one. But I remember watching one of Eddie Griffin's stand-ups, and he was like, what was it, the second law, thermodynamics, or it could be, it's one of the laws of thermodynamics, I think, where it's energy does not disappear. Energy does not like, it cannot be annihilated. It simply enters a different form or like state. It moves or like changes. It doesn't like just leave. And that's where I come from, where it's like, well, what happens when we die? I think the energy running our body, the energy that animates our body, simply enters a different state, like water becoming gas or ice or whatever. Like, like the energy within your body simply becomes a different kind of energy. And then the question is like, you know, how do you remain, or do you remain conscious of that change and like deal with it and stuff like that? Like, but that actually makes a lot of sense to me. Like, I mean, think when you think of very like life experiences that a lot of us go through, like, the first time you get punched in the face, or like when a child touches a flame, a naked flame for the first time and learns what hot is, or something like that. Like, I think that's what dying is like. Dying is simply an experience that we all go through that for some people could be incredibly painful and traumatizing, but for other people could feel like the best thing ever, you know? Like this permanent release of all stress, you know? Like, I can imagine that, like, being dead, but like knowing I'm dead and I don't have to deal with like how sore my fucking shoulders are all the time anymore. Like, I just like wouldn't have that stimulus. I wouldn't have that sensation. I wouldn't be able to feel that anymore. Like, be mad. Like, yeah, I'm gonna blame the elf for a lot of things. Don't you worry. Um, this stream is only masquerading as a painting stream, anyways. I don't know what you mean, Bravey. There's a painting right there. And say, I've done this a few times. I've been like, I don't need to paint anything. Like, I've already done the work. I can just sit here and talk shit if I want. Oh. Info barrel. I announced you at the start, so I'm not going to announce you again, but I'll see you back in the chat there. Uh, Not speaking for anyone else, but I'm here for the painting instructions. You must be a very patient person. We must arrange a race, Defender. A race? Like a foot race? You want to see how fast I am? Eh, I'd say I could probably outsprint you. I have way bigger legs than you. I'm quite fast in a straight line. I build up an incredible amount of momentum. I remember I went jogging with my friend a few years ago, and we'd been jogging for about like 20 minutes or something. Like, we went around the park, like, building up a good sweat and shit. Like, and it got to about the half hour mark, and he was like, "Right, we finish on a sprint." And it was like like we went on an evening jog, and like by the time he said that, like, do you want to go on a sprint? Like there was nobody in the park, and it was like pitch black. And I was like, right, yeah. And then like we fucking like took off, right, to just like sprint it out at the end. And I was like I get this. One of the reasons I never wanted to go to a gym is because I know that like I would wreck people's buzz. I'm very loud. Like I'm very like I get really into shit, and I don't care what people think. So like I'm the type of guy that like when I'm on my last push of like if I'm just doing bench press, right? Like I exercise properly. I don't go like I don't get to the stage where I'm like, oh, I'm a bit sore now, I'm gonna stop. Like, do you know, like I'm like like my face is going red, I'm shaking and shit. Like I put it all out there, like, do you know what I mean? Like I'm one of the guys that like used to puke a lot at the end of training, like, do you know what I mean? Like you'd be like hitting a heavy bag and all, like just be like 30 more seconds. Like sweating buckets, like bright red, like, you know, like whatever about jelly legs, like, you know, the following day, like I would be so sore after training sometimes that like I'd be like vibrating. And I like, I think that paid. I think it did pay off because I didn't do any physical shit for like 8 years. I just sat down playing video games, smoking weed. Like so, for now, like 4 or 5 years now, I've like managed to pull it back. You know, but I think it really paid off that I used to do that stuff quite intensely for a few years when I was younger because that gave me like a foundation. So when I do stuff physically now, I have muscle memory. I my nervous system knows that I can like jump up and do a spinning roundhouse. But my body is like, good luck. You know, like, so I'm trying to like, you know, I'm like for the past 4 years, I've been chiseling the rust off my armor and like oiling it and shit so that I can like, you know, like it's a decent set of armor. My father gave me this armor. I'm not throwing it out. I don't need a new set of armor. It just needs to be greased and like need to bang the rust off it. Like, but I'm getting there. I can feel it. Like, you know, I'm 40 and look like a crackhead. Oh god, I man, I relate to that so much. Like, I only turned 32 in November, and I fucking I've been saying it for the last couple of years, like because of what I just said. Like I was like, sometimes I would wake up and I'm like, I'm dehydrated, I'm underweight, my posture's poor, like all this shit. Like, you know, I fucking like it's like you think I look gaunt now. Like sometimes I look like I'm cutting weight for a fight. And like, what did I say before? I look like fucking I look like the fucking knockoff Chinese version of One Punch Mickey from Snatch. Like, like I'm ripped, but not in a healthy way. Oh. You're built like a sparrow. You do. You look like if I like you look like if I hit you one solid like if I hit you a straight right into your solar plex, like you look like the type of guy that I could potentially kill you with a punch to the chest. Oh fuck. Handstand is a goal for me. I am proud to be able to get my socks on without holding something. I, that's pure struggle, isn't it? Like, you know, when you're fucking, you're just freestanding and you got to put your socks on. Like, and if you don't regularly keep fit and do some shit, like you find your balance just being like, whoa, what the fuck? I've gotten there. That's from wearing shoes too much as well, and like, you know, not being able to squat regularly and stuff. Your toes and your feet aren't like, you know, gripping the floor properly. Like your balance is not like situated in the bottom of your hips and shit. Like the Asians have us beat in so many ways. Like they really do. Like in terms of the fundamentals of life, things like longevity and quality of life and all these things, like the Asians have it fucking down, man. Like I like part of me wants to put a squat toilet like in my when me and the missus eventually get our own place. Like I want a squat toilet. I swear to God. Like, oh fuck. Traditionally, Christians took their boots off to pray too. Yeah, well, Christians have fallen a long way. So, like, obviously, there's still a lot of Christians out there that are like, pretty fucking Christian and behave so, like, but like that whole like that American corporate Christian stuff with the like the huge stadiums and the like Jesus loves you and the fucking like nutcases. Absolute fucking bunch of bellends and nutcases, in my humble opinion. Like, let Jesus enter you and give you the light and fucking like fuck off. Like, it's like it, it's even from a young age. I would look at that stuff and I'm like when you see a black church, there's something soulful about that shit where they're all like, I love Jesus. Like it works for them. Do you know what I mean? But when you see the Christian Bible bashing fucking like speak the demons out of you, brother, fucking blah, 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 like all that fucking, they're lunatics. They're fucking like dogmatic psychopaths. And like these people have jobs and families. Like it's fucking like I find it equally horrifying as I do hilarious. Like, uh, Assassin's Creed had a game with all sailing shanty songs. Excellent. Yeah, the Black Flag. Yeah, Black Flag. You'd get on the ship and you could like hold a button to tell the lads to start singing and all like and it was hold on fallen. It's fucking. Some of them are really good. Like they're fucking savage. Like I'd love to learn a few of them off by heart. Like, and it would also be hilarious that I'm like dressed as a Japanese fella in a kimono, painting cartoonish looking things while singing sea shanties. If people ever complain about this painting stream not being audibly satisfying, I swear to God they can burn in hell. Card. A British man is a soaring soul. Yeah, that's the type of shit I'm on it. Yeah, like it's fucking like I love that shit. And like that's how men are supposed to sing. Do you know what I mean? Like guys like Frank Sinatra and like Michael Bublé and stuff, like, those kind of like lounge singers, they kind of have that, that element of like male voices. Like, do you know what I mean? Like you're supposed to sing if you're a man, that's how you're supposed to sing, not these fucking like Michael Jackson, Prince, fucking like, like it's not supposed to work like that. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, if you've ever listened to fucking what's that nigga, Pavarotti, fucking Nessun Dorma, Nessun Dorma. Yes, blah, 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 blah. It's fucking beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful. Like, it was so funny. I was like locked out of my mind one time. I was just sitting in a chair holding one of my like cuddly toys from when I was like really young. It was just like sitting on the chair somewhere and I just like grabbed it. And I was just like holding it for comfort. It was like locked out of my head. And my friend came over and he was like, "Chap, you look like you're having a bit of like a spiritual like moment." And I'm just like, "Oh, I'm like really happily drunk right now." And I'm just like swinging in the chair. And he stuck that on. He stuck on Nason Dorma by Pavarotti, like, and I started crying. I was just sitting there listening to this chap sing, like belting it out in front of an arena of people, like, you're like, like, and they're all just sitting there, like, clapping and shit, like, and just a single tear rolled down my eye, and like, they were standing out my back garden, but there was like a screen door, so they could still see me because I was sitting in front of the computer, like, And I looked out, and my friend who stuck it on was just standing there pissing himself laughing because he could just see me like having a moment. Like, it's like that's one of my funniest memories. Is just me crying listening to Nathan Dorma, fucking pissed out of my mind. Oh fuck! Corbair got a visitor and had to go outdoors all day long. It's a lovely spot. Like the bit you showed me, if it's the place you're still at the moment, it looked lovely. It did, yeah. There's something so beautiful about a well tended garden, a well manicured garden. There's something like just so fucking beautiful about it. Like, uh, same here. My parents cut me off financially at 13. Yeah, and it was weird because like my parents like started off as the type that were like, okay, you're gonna get an allowance every week for like doing chores. Hold on a sec. My painting is like off center and it's just bugging the shit out of me. Um, they were like I didn't get a phone until I was like first phone I got. I think I was like I just turned 13 or 14 or something like. Ended up fucking ended up going for a swim with it still in my pocket. I remember getting out of the water and I was just like, oh shit. It's like a little it's like a little Siemens or some shit. I can't remember what it was. Like those like Siemens phones. SIEMENS or something like. Oh my god, I seen the funniest Skeletor meme there the other fucking day. Um, oh, I can't even remember what it was. Like it was like you can't spell something without like semen on the tits. I can't remember what it was. Was it communism or communists? I can't remember. You can't spell blah 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 without semen on the tits. And then you know them Skeletor memes where it's like, until we meet again. And he just I love shit like that. Like it's so funny. Like that fucking Indian thing that was going around for a while. They're the things that make me laugh the most. The fucking like, if you're having a bad day, give up, go home. Not every day has to be a good day. Like, I fucking love that type of shit. Like, oh, you're a mutant. You can you can hear where your arrows land. You're like a fucking like a fucking meth addict version of fucking. You're a crackhead fucking Legolas. That's hilarious. Boomers love their stuff and loneliness. Oh, it's so true, man. It's so true. Like my dad, like my father in a lot of ways was like he'd work and then he'd like do what he needed to do to provide for us. But then once he'd done that, leave him the fuck alone. It was weird. He wouldn't want you to be around. Like he wants to watch the Moto GP and uh like watch Babylon 5 and Star Trek, and he wants to just be left alone, you know? And like obviously you get like I can understand that in a sense where like you work in an office, you're dealing with people's bullshit all day, and then you come home and your kid is like, will you fix my transformer for me, please? Or some shit like that. There's gonna be a part of you that's like, fuck off. Like but like you can't be like that with your kids. Do you know what I mean? You just can't like Owen was saying on the recent stream, like he was like, don't scare your kids. Like, that's not cool. Like, you can't be scaring your kids. Like my dad scared the shit out of me, like intentionally and unintentionally, multiple times. Like, scared the fucking daylights out of me. Like, but it it has a weird way of paying off. Like, I wouldn't be the person I am now if not for like the traumatic experiences that I had from a young age. And it's not like, I didn't experience death. Nobody ever got like shot in front of me. Um, I've experienced like mild amounts of violence, but nothing like intense. And I wasn't like, raised around like the kind of area where like, there'd be known like crack dens or like, these like halfway houses with loads of junkies in them or anything. Like nothing like that at all. But like I come from, a middle class broken home with one sister who's like 10 years younger than me. So it's like we had the typical family of like two, the mother and the father are working, the kids are in school, and we have a dog and two cars in a fucking, 4 bedroom semi detached suburban house, And then I turn 14 and like it all goes to shit, you know. I fucking start drinking and smoking and like hanging out with a bad crowd and like I just had friends over all the time. Like my ma had no say in the house whatsoever because of the way she behaved and because of the way my father behaved. I was like at the age of like 15, 16, they could not tell me to do anything. Like I was totally lawless. I was totally independent of them as far as any sort of authority went. Do you know what I mean? The only thought in my mind was like, you know, don't turn into a criminal. I wasn't gonna like start selling weed or fucking like trying to like, get around taxes in a stupid way. Like a lot of people end up doing that shit. A lot of people end up like hating their family so much that like they don't care about greater society to the point where they're like, well, I feel like crap, and I'm bitter and I'm jaded because of my personal experiences. So I don't have compassion for my fellow man. So why should I have to work really hard to compensate to for all the stuff that's been like done to me by the people who brought me here and are supposed to love me? Do you know what I mean? Like it's a fucked up psychological trauma, like, and it's widespread. There's people way worse than me, and there's loads of them. You come from a broken home, you don't respect your father, don't respect your mother, you don't give a fuck about like the government or like laws and all that shit. The only thing you're concerned about, if you have any ambition, if you have any like sense of self preservation at all, all you will really be worried about is making money because you need money to buy stuff, like to live. So depending on how you end up making money, whether it be working in McDonald's or like say you do start like slinging weed for a local drug dealer or some shit like that, like that's how a lot of that shit happens. Is like you don't have a da at home showing you how to make a stool, and then that gets you interested in carpentry. Do you know what I mean? Like my father was in IT, so the last thing I wanted to do was to get into computers, even though he makes a shitload of money. But I used to look at that shit and be like, "You serious? You just sit at a desk all day? I don't care how much money you're gonna fucking pay me. I don't want to do that every day. Like, fuck that shit. Like, it's crazy to see how easy it is. Like, I've experienced that. Like, I've been around people like that, who just make really, really, really bad choices because they're in a situation and they don't want to make a choice where the consequences means that they have to work really hard. And I wasn't like that. I was like, no, I'll work. I'll fucking work. And then I got jobs, and then I got treated like shit because the job environment in this country is fucking like for the most part is absolute trash. So many like managers, bosses, higher ups couldn't give a flying fuck about you or whatever. Like, you know what I mean? And then the government and all of these like social welfare incentives and stuff like that ultimately makes everything worse. You know, it's a shit show. It's an utter shit show. Like instead of it's like the fucking COVID scenario where the hospitals got financial incentives to fucking basically kill people. You know, all of these fucking businesses and corporations end up getting financial incentives from the government to treat their laborers and their workers like absolute trash. It's crazy. Ah, Irish Newfoundland bear. Welcome to Paintingu. You can have tower lofts instead of electronic AC. That's why all buildings had spires. Yeah, the difference in temperature used to create an energy flow. Yeah, I've heard about that stuff. Yeah. Future archaeologists in 1,000 years will refer to our age as the age of plastic. Yeah, totally. More than likely. Maxed out Beru, welcome to Paintingu. I have a squatty potty, one of the best, simplest purchases ever. Man, that's how you're supposed to shit. It's much healthier for you. Like you almost had me convinced to give you my life savings to keep me from going to hell. Almost. Treat yourself, you won't regret it. No, yeah, like I probably will. Like, obviously, the missus and stuff will probably want a normal toilet, but I'll probably have like daddy's toilet. Like, you know, daddy's toilets kind of look like a fucking outhouse in the house. It's just gonna be this room with a hole in it. Like, that is where I shit. Oh, fuck. Have you ever seen an Asian jogging? Fuck no. Yeah, I know. It's so funny, isn't it? Like, jogging's not like running. You know, running and sprinting are good forms of exercise and can be very beneficial to your health. But jogging's biomechanically not what we're supposed to do. We're not designed to jog. We're designed to walk, jump, sprint, and like running is basically sprinting. Like, do you know what I mean? Like we're not supposed to do that like with that kind of like, and some people have really poor form when they're jogging. You know, if you're gonna jog, you have to have proper form, and some people have horrible fucking form. You like fuck up your knees and your ankles and shit. I'm really enjoying listening to this painting stream. Wonder how the painting is coming along. Well, no progress has been made in the past hour and 20 minutes, but it still looks brilliant. I didn't get a phone till I was 25, but that was about 1999. That's insane. It's mad how the fucking like the not just the cultural differences, but the just the life experience different experience differences in the space of like 10 or 20 years. Like it's fucking mental. You were a blacksmith and then you got yeah, like so I can't remember if you described what happened to you in the chat before, but like you said, I think was it a car crash? Did you get like fucked up in like did somebody hit you when you were in your car? What happened? Like must have been a really bad car crash if it fucked you up physically, like you know, permanently. Like right, shall we do some painting, goo? There's been enough ranting, goo. I think it's about time. Where's my tunes? Where's my snare? What I find was that is how toddlers yeah. Oh, what you find absurd. Yeah, I seriously fucking hate the way that heart is there. I have to wait for the comment to move up and shit before I can actually see the whole thing. It's mad annoying. Yeah, like like whatever about having tablets and stuff so they can play games and stuff like that. Like, but like, yeah, you have fucking like small children and their fucking parents will give them a phone and stuff like crazy. Oh my God. Your tire blew and you were going 100 kilometers an hour and you fucking hit a giant gum tree. Holy shit. Like you straight up crashed into a tree at like 100 kilometers an hour. Fuck. So you just like careened off the road because your tire blew? Man. I'd say that was fucking traumatizing, like mentally, not just like physically. Like, did it knock you unconscious when you hit the tree? Or did you like hit the tree and like you were all fucked up and like you remember everything? Like some people get lucky and just get knocked out and wake up in hospital. Like, you know what I mean? What happened? Oh, you nearly died, but you're fine now. Like, you shouldn't be alive. Jesus Christ, it was that bad. The type of thing when like the emergency guys showed up at the car, they expected to find you just like dead, but you're still like a little help. Like, fucking hell. Okie dokie. Do 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 do. Tunes, tunes. Where's my tunes? I'm just immediately going to get into Dancing with Demons. Just get straight into it. The one ad I don't mind being played on my stream, the Shaolin Way. I'll let that advertisement play all fucking day. That's hilarious. Right, we have a Hello Kitty battle axe to paint, amongst other things. There we go. Part of me wants to like just do Hello Kitty's head as the head and then put blades on it. The more I looked at it when I did it, I was like, I can make that cooler looking. Right. Let's paint. Paint, paint. Pink axe. Wet bitch. It's always important to wet your bitches. Paint, paint. Paint, paint. Yeah, I'm just going to do Hello Kitty's head as the head of the battle axe. It'll stand out more as well. Do 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 do. Paint, paint. Pink axe. It's not something you hear very often. It's like, oh, that's a really cute axe. Painting goo 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 goo. Doot, doot. It's my green. Hiya. Doctors don't know why I'm alive. I'm just a smithy. Yeah, I had to crawl up the bank and flag down a car. So, well, at least you were fucking. At least you had the, like, you were able to, like, call for help, you know? At least you didn't fucking crash into a fucking ravine and just, like, die a slow, painful death. I have 2 collapsed lungs and torn diaphragms and shattered sternums and Jesus fucking Christ. Can you make the axe bedazzled as well? I was gonna fucking I was gonna put gems on it, alright. Paint, paint. 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 Painting. Goo. Paint. Paint. Painting. Goo. Oh, excuse me. Oh, get it out here. Paint. Just make some decent progress on my new symmetrical design this morning. So it'll probably be maybe another week, and I'll have a new symmetrical out and a new design to put on t-shirts and hoodies and stuff. Dun, 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 dun. Bit of the old brack. Have to order more of that shit. Hey, yo. Painting goo. It's always handy if I have a particular colour on the brush at the time. And I'd just be like, oh, I can use that here, I can use it over here, over here needs a bit of black or whatever like that. Like, because otherwise you're just like changing colours so much. I think that's like one of the techniques that I've become accustomed to with my symmetricals is like, I usually am just using one color at a time and then just like filling in the shapes and stuff. Like, so when I'm doing like, you know, normal, I suppose, art like this, where there's like, all different shapes, colors, shades, and stuff like that. Like, the way I like to work is like, I'll throw down, you know, the base color and in the basic silhouette or shape of the thing in question. And then you throw down another color, like whether it be lighter or darker than the original color. Like, I like painting as if I'm building something or carving things. Like, I love layers and shit. Like, I suppose you could put a couple of things on the buildings. Those smokestacks in the background, it'd be a different color. Fuck all in that. I know a guy in Libya who can get some blackface. I'm running out. I'm actually running out of the black gouache. I need to like mix myself some more. Still have some other opaque acrylic there that I can mix. It won't be long before I have to order some more stuff. Oh, excuse me. Smoke coming out of that later. We get the sunflower, the Hello Kitty battle axe. Waiting for that to dry. I'll finish that off. The rabbit's good. We got our bumblebees. Put something in the sky, and then we'll put something here. And then maybe something here. Kind of want to put people here to like lend perspective. You jerk! Fuck! Get off my stream. Paint, paint. Paint. Paint, paint. Painting goo 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 goo. Okay. I'm thinking put some tiny people. Just put some stickmen here or some shit like. Because I know you can see the buildings in the background and all, which gives you the impression that the two of these are huge. But I think some stickmen in the. Or some villagers or some military boys. What did I put in the water? Swamp Thing's recording everything. What did I put over here? Maybe people spectating on a submarine or a ship or something. Try and create a military green, and I'll do some. Yeah, fuck it. I'll do a little tank with some soldiers or something. Gonna make military green. Bit of olive drab in the house. That's what I need. Okay. Bit of yellow. Get mellow with some yellow. Painting. Goo goo. Paint, paint. Painting. Goo goo. Kind of a lime color there. There we go. Too brown. Make it a bit greener again. There we go. Okay, we'll put a tank in. Paint, paint. Paint, paint. Paint. Ah, the female has returned. How are you, my love? You okay? Painting, goo goo goo. What, are you gonna say hi? That was work. Oh, you read the chat. What are people saying about him?
Rubbish.
That I'm rubbish.
Well, what's the last thing you even read?
The last thing in the chat is the last thing I read.
You know what people are saying about you.
Well, I haven't looked at it. I don't know when it moves. Bless you. I don't know when it moves if I'm not looking at it. You know?
Oh. You said the last thing in the chat was the last thing that you read.
Yeah. So I was wrong, was I?
But like, how do you not know if... Think about that for a minute. If you've read the last thing that was said,
Yeah.
how do you not know what's being said?
I was just creating small talk between me and you. Being like, what are the people saying about you? Or about me? Which gave you the opportunity to take the piss out of me. Which you did. You know? Keep up, child.
Time to keep up.
What are you thinking about for dinner? Or have you thought about it yet?
Hi, Demon Hunter, not Desmond Hunter. I'm sorry, Delta Bear. What am I doing now?
Paint, paint. No, I said, have you thought about dinner? Paint, paint. Paint tank. Oh. Feel like making me a coffee?
Yes.
The fucking mic doesn't pick up the gong.
What do you mean?
Like if I go ding, like the mic doesn't pick it up. Like
Do it all the way over here.
yeah, it doesn't pick it up. It picks up my voice, but it doesn't pick up the mic.
Pictures up.
Yeah, it's not picking it up. I'll need to get like a proper mic, like. The fucking face on you. Oh god. You
Good
were
help.
you were meant for the screen, my love. Yeah, fucking Elf. Did you tell us why you got arrested or what happened? I can't remember. Fucking telling us how like the car crash that like made him like the way he is and all now. Like, but the first thing I asked him was like, why'd you get arrested? Like, and either he did answer and I didn't read it, or I can't remember. Did we get sidetracked? Definitely the Swamp Thing painting goo. You want a painting of just Swamp Thing? You gonna pay for it in silver? Do you remember the thing I looked at? Swamp Thing. Dana. He's in the painting. This is him here. He's recording the whole event. Can you not just look at the screen? Or is it too small? He's recording the fight between the rabbit and the sunflower. Painting. Google. It's catchy, isn't it?
Oh, Griff.
Painting, goo 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 goo. What?
Pick this up.
No. It's really good at picking up voices, but it's also really good at like eliminating extra noise as well. It's weird, like, because when you think about it, if it picked up
Maybe
the,
if you went into your mic settings and got rid of the noise reduction.
I don't think I can. I'm not sure.
There must be a way.
Sleepy House is saying
There
hello.
must be a way. Hi, Sleepy House.
Yeah, I'm gonna try and look into it. I'm gonna have to check out a few things because Griff wants to come on stream,
Oh yeah, I seen that actually.
and I don't know how to do that yet. So I'll get Griff on once.
I don't have to do that.
You know how to, like, obviously I just have to share the link to him, but like, how do I create a link to join the stream? Is my
Like it is that you need to add in the source
yeah, because there would be his
for his camera.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's on the books, is to learn how to do that so I could get people on. Because people enjoyed that, like, ages ago when I had Jacobat on. That was hilarious. Going between, like, painting a tiny tank versus, like, a massive rabbit. It's actually funny how, like, doing these streams has, like, in certain ways, really improved my painting. Because, like, I'm doing it, like, on the spot really quickly. And, like, that's, like, made me quite good at, like, basic shapes, like, on the fly and shit. Like, it's mad, like. There was a part of me that was afraid that, like, doing painting good would make me terrible at painting. But, like, it actually makes a lot of sense that it hasn't.
Like,
Yeah, I think the solution here is pretty obvious. A larger gong. You, sir, need a bigger gong. Afro Samurai crossover. What, you mean get Baller Bear on? I need flesh colour. Yeah, I'm gonna finish up at 5, and we'll start dinner.
Yeah.
Go have a smoke and a cup of tea. You don't have to make me coffee if you want. If you don't want to, and I will join you.
Yeah, well, the coffee.
What time is it?
Just-
No, I'll have a tea. I'll have a cup of tea. You make it an Irish one.
I will do no such thing.
What? It's past midday.
I dare you.
Oh, don't start that shit. Don't you? How dare you, me? How dare you? How dare you? How dare you, me? Nearly there. Maybe a bit of white to activate it. I mean, like that kind of is a flesh color, but it's flesh color if you're like fucking Middle Eastern.
What?
The brown I have going here.
Need a bit more pinky ready.
There we go. It's just the red I have. Like that red is so strong.
I would have went more pink than red.
Yeah, but I can't go pink.
Well,
Well, I could go pink, but it'd be a waste of my pink. Nearly there. Paint, paint. Paint, paint. Paint, paint. Paint, paint. Oh, well, like, I'll definitely have, like, an actual, like, massive fucking gong with the hammer and all, like, when I, like, get my own place or some shit, like, definitely, like, and it would be a staple on Paintingu. Paint, paint. Don't you? Painting, goo, 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 goo. Paint, tiny soldier. Oh, hey, yeah. It's so smart. Look how I better see him. You're so smart. Painting. Goo goo. Paint, paint. What the fuck is Irish tea? It's tea with piss in it, I guess. It's tea with um, like it doesn't have to be like whiskey or like rum or so. It's tea with like a drop of alcohol in it, like it's like a imagine like a warm wine. What? What say? Well, yeah, it's kind of my own.
Tea. But there is such thing as Irish coffee.
Okay, so yeah, Irish tea is just my own invention, and you should all pay me for it. Paint.
An Irish tea. It's fucking tea.
An Irish tea is just fucking tea. Paint. Where did I? There we go. Where's my flesh color? There we go. Paint. Painting, goo. Oh, excuse me. Yeah. Seriously, the fucking red is so strong. Just like you touch the red off any other color, and it's like so fucking strong. Suppose we could do. What was I saying? We did like a submarine or a ship here or some shit. How much time have I got? Like 5 minutes. See if Hello Kitty's face is dry. Paint. Paint. I'm gonna make it an angry Hello Kitty. Paint. Painting. Google. Oh, beautiful pink. It's a bit pale. Needs to be a little bit brighter. Painting. Google. Hilarious. Bit of grey. Painting. Google. Hello, kitty. Painting. Goo goo goo. Goo goo. Squirt. Just a little, just a tiny squirt. Right, we gotta. Yeah, we'll do like a battle cruiser or some shit. Like, gives us loads of space to put loads of people on it. Hey, yeah. And last thing I'll do before I pack it in is I'll set up. I'm kind of addicted to putting jet fighters in these things now. I think if we have anything even remotely resembling a conflict between kaijus, it's almost like it'd be blasphemy to not include the local military in the painting. Tomorrow we'll finish this off with some detail, perhaps some vicious, bloody wounds on either of our contestants in this conflict. And I might put some more detail on Swamp Thing's back or some shit. So yeah. PEINTEINGU episode 78 is nearly finished. I think this is the most parts I've ever done to an episode. What was this, part 10? Right! Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, bears and bearettes, niggers and niggerettes, that concludes today's episode of PEINTEINGU. I will see you the same time, same place, tomorrow, 3 p.m. Be sure to tune in. If you would like to support PEINTEINGU, link is in description. If you would like to purchase any of my merchandise, link is also in description. If you would like to purchase any of the PEINTEINGUs or something else, simply DM me or comment on Streamu. Visit my Telegram chatu. Or beg to enter it. Maybe if I like you, I'll let you in. In the meantime, be good, be true, and be beautiful. And I'll see you tomorrow. God bless.